back to another episode of Chow and Company, your source of food, culture, and entertainment. Today's guest is a groundbreaking entrepreneur who is known as the first Black woman to own a flavored whiskey brand. I want everybody to give it up for the owner of Frisky Whiskey, Nicole Young.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no, thank you for being on today, Nicole. How are you?
I'm great, Marcus. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So first, we're just going to jump right into it. So one, I have to know, what made you want to jump into the spirit industry and the name Frisky Whiskey? You have to give the background behind that.
Well, I wanted to jump into the spirits industry because I'm an insane person. No, I'm kidding. I wanted to involve myself even more, I would say, in spirits because I've been in the spirits industry in various capacities for many, many years now. Without dating myself, it's been a while. But this is my first foray as an owner. And what excited me about that was the idea of being the first in something, trailblazing. But more than that, I am a lover of flavor and taste. I have a recipe development background. Anytime I can create and put something into the world that is flavorful, that is delicious, that's going to bring joy to people through flavor, through their taste buds, I get excited. So the opportunity to create Frisky, bring it to market was something that I felt was in line with just my own personal philosophy and goals. And like I said, the trailblazing aspect of it was definitely a bit appealing to me, the opportunity to do that. It was shocking, really, to know that flavored whiskey is such a emerging and fledgling and growing, fast growing category in spirits, and the amount of money that consumers that look like me invest into this industry for there to be that little tiny bit of representation on the ownership level was shocking and also inspiring, and something that drives me every single day, even on my hardest days. To your question about the name, I wanted to have the brand represent fun. I wanted it to be something that felt approachable, that felt interesting and appealing. And that name, my partner and I were going around names, and he thought of a couple names, and the name Frisky came up, and he was a bit apprehensive about it. I said, you know what? I think that is the name. It rolls off the tongue. Frisky Whiskey. A rhyme is always great. I think that people appreciate that sort of whimsy. We think of it as a premium whiskey with style and whimsy. So the name Frisky is about as whimsical as it gets.
Got it.
We have a guest.
No, you're fine.
Okay, sweet.
No. So no, we do. We have a special guest. I want Nicole's son.
This is my son Cole, who you can't hear him, and he knows he's supposed to be in the other room behaving himself now. Cole, all right, sweetie, go to the other room, please. Thank you. Thank you.
No, you're fine. So we just get a little special added
him
feature.
out, right? Exactly.
You're fine. But no, so fun fact about Nicole, I know you have a background in TV broadcast. So can you tell us maybe how your background in broadcast, how it plays into your whole entrepreneurial journey?
Yes. So I do have a background in broadcast, and I've been in the broadcast business for a very long time. And what I will say about having that experience, and I'm still in broadcast, it's not in the past. I still work in broadcast. I still host and produce a lot of TV segments, morning news segments, lifestyle show segments. I will say that the benefit to having that skill is a lot of being an entrepreneur in the spirits business, but in any business, is really about communicating with people and telling stories and keeping people engaged and interested in whatever you're doing. So having done that for a living and still do, I still do that for a living, knowing how to do that and understanding how to get your point across, keep people engaged, keep them interested, is a skill that I do have, and it has served me well in the spirits industry. I also will say that for me, a lot of what I do in broadcast is lifestyle centric. So I have spent a lot of my career educating, encouraging, informing people about how to build their lifestyle, how to have a life of style, how to take the best care of themselves, how to put things into their life, into their body that's going to bring them that joy and excitement. So to have a brand that I feel is in line with that and does that is a very sort of, it feels symbiotic for me. It makes sense.
Yeah. And so, can you take us a step back? So, when you had this concept of Frisky Whiskey in mind, what was your research process like for kind of getting things in order?
Well, so that's an interesting question, and I have two sort of a twofold answer. So my I have two business partners, and collectively they have been in this industry for, I don't want to date them, but decades. Okay, decades.
Huh?
So my partner James was one of the co-founders of Hypnotic, and if you're familiar with that brand, that was a you know big deal in the spirits industry,
We all know
and
Hypnotic.
everybody knows Hypnotic, right? I'm sure you had an Incredible Hulk or two, or maybe not, but I'm sure some of your listeners have. So my two partners together collectively have decades of experience. So I didn't do, a lot of painstaking research by myself. I certainly had the expertise, the knowledge, and their longevity in the industry to rely on, which has been beyond helpful to me. But as far as what I did do myself and what we did together, we did look at what was happening in the marketplace. Flavored whiskeys tend to skew very much on the fruity side. You have these apple flavors, you have these, mango. Then there's all the sort of off the beaten path flavors out there. The peanut and they all work for the audience. They work for these brands. I don't knock what anyone's doing. And we looked at what people were doing and figured, what could we do that was different? And something for me personally, I said to my partner, what about flavored whiskey? He had launched a bourbon line, and I was not a big lover or enthusiast as far as brown spirits. And when I tried William Wolf, which is his brand, I thought that pecan bourbon was the best thing I ever tasted. I remember saying to him, "This is bourbon?" And he was like, "No, this is what this bourbon is like." And I was like, oh, "Okay," because I always thought, bourbon was like harsh, like like it was a departure from what I
Yeah.
thought it was, and I was immediately fascinated and thought, what about flavored whiskey? And he said, I am a traditionalist, speaking as if I'm him. He said that he was a traditionalist, and that was kind of where he drew the line. He didn't have a favorite flavor that he thought
Hmm.
would work for a whiskey. And I was trying to get him to tell me which was his favorite flavor of his own line of the bourbon, and it was kind of like, and I'm like, okay, so what are the notes that you look for in the whiskey that you like, the traditional premium whiskey? And he said, the caramel, the vanilla, those are the notes that really give it the flavor. And I thought, okay, so there's the apple flavored whiskey, there's the mango, papaya, sesame. I'm kidding about the sesame, but all these crazy flavors were out there, and there was really nothing that was staying true to what whiskey was. Then
Hmm.
on top of it, I learned that a lot of flavored whiskeys were made with what is called spirit whiskey, which is not 100% whiskey. It's basically like sausage. It's kind of like the meat, but then there's other stuff in there, and you're like, oh, they're stretching it out. It's not 100%. So with all of that in mind, that we put that into our own process and said, okay, we're not doing fruity. I was very passionate about leaning into that vanilla and that caramel because that makes sense. Who doesn't like vanilla and caramel? There are people who don't like vanilla and caramel, but they tend to be universally sort of appealing, palatable flavors. And
Hmm.
if they're already occurring in flavored whiskey, we could take them from the back end and put them on the forefront. So that research into what was already happening in the market played a lot into the decisions that we made as far as what Frisky was going to taste like, and also who we wanted to appeal to. Traditionalists are typically like, ugh, like my partner, no flavored, no flavored. People who don't drink whiskey at all are like, ooh, that stuff burns. So again, it was like, how do we take those things out? How do we make it? I go to these country clubs with these older white men. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but who are very, very staunch about their whiskey and how they like it and the cigars.
Hmm.
And I'm standing there with my Frisky, like, here, because I have a tasting. And they're like, what's that? Who for you? And they try it. And I always ask them, can I record you? Because the look on their face when it's like,
Hmm.
oh, this is flavored whiskey. It was like me the first time I tried his bourbon. I'm like, this is bourbon? No, this isn't flavored whiskey. This is Frisky whiskey. Frisky tastes like this. Other whiskeys don't. So that's how, the research that I know I personally put in a lot of and was encouraged and assisted by my partners was into what was already happening in the market, what could we do differently, and how can we really change perceptions about flavored whiskey.
Let me ask you, how do you go about sourcing your ingredients for Frisky Whiskey?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so I can't tell you the specifics, but
Yes.
what I will say is that we are very, very committed to all natural ingredients, which is something else that sets Frisky apart from the other flavored whiskeys on the market. We start off first and foremost with a premium whiskey. It is something that before we infuse our flavor, that whiskey could be enjoyed on its own and very much appreciated by premium whiskey drinkers. We then turn around and infuse that with pure caramel and all natural vanilla. So it's not vanilla flavoring, it's all natural vanilla. And you taste that difference in our product. You get that natural, there is no syrupy aftertaste, there's no long lingering taste of artificial sugar on the tongue, there's no burn that goes down your throat when you drink the whiskey. So we are very, very passionate, like I said, about sourcing all natural ingredients and making sure that what we put into the whiskey is what we ourselves want to drink.
Got you, got you. Oh, and then one of the most important questions: where can we buy Frisky Whiskey at this current moment?
The important question. So we recently just launched an online store. So you can order Frisky online at drinkfrisky.com, have it shipped right to your home in the majority of the states in the United States. But you can find us at Costco stores across several states. You can find us at Total Wine stores. You can find us at Walmart stores in certain states as well. If you go to drinkfrisky.com, we do have a store locator and you can find Frisky Whiskey near you. And if you have any problems, you can always DM us on Instagram at drinkfrisky. But drinkfrisky.com can point you in the direction of a retailer, or like I said, you can order right there online and have it shipped to you.
Okay. Yeah, and that made me think about so part of, why I do this is to also inspire entrepreneurs within the food and beverage industry. And so when you think about again kind of like getting the business set up, and you consider things like quality, competition, target audience, what were some of the things that kind of helped you approach like pricing and positioning within the market?
That's a great question. When it comes to making decisions such as pricing, we really wanted Frisky to be a sip of luxury, but that was accessible. So
Mhm.
when you look, for example, at our bottle, which I happen to have one right here,
It's like
we
hold it up, hold it up.
we put a lot into the design of the bottle, but we wanted that to draw you in and to feel that luxury, but then we don't want your pocket to necessarily feel that luxury. So it's about sort of balancing that out. And our price point, which is somewhere around $30 on our website, it's $30. And depending on what state you're buying it in, what retailer, the price does fluctuate a little bit, varies here and there, state to state, but our price point is somewhere around the $30 mark, which is very accessible to most people. It's obviously not a $10 bottle of hooch, but it's certainly not something that's going to put the average person into a whole, heap of debt over. But it brings you accessibility. And so other whiskeys that we consider to be in our category are somewhere around that price point, but they don't all have that quality, that premium whiskey, that all natural ingredients. They don't use the all natural ingredients. So they're actually, I'm like, they're cheapening out. No, but we are trying to give you the best product that we can at a price point that is accessible and attainable for the average person. So we did look at the marketplace. We saw what was out there, what other people were pricing their products at. When most people see a bottle of Frisky, they do expect it to be a higher price point. So then they're pleasantly surprised that it's not as expensive as the bottle looks. But just because something is well made and is well packaged doesn't mean that it should be exclusive to only people, to the 1%, if you will.
Right, right. And let's see, because you kind of hinted on this earlier, but of course you're a black woman in a predominantly male, industry. Like, have you faced any challenges, with kind of like the launch of Frisky Whiskey?
So, as a Black woman in the spirits industry, I feel extremely blessed and fortunate that I have been, for the most part, well received. People in the industry are very welcoming at this point, or at least trying their best to be. There is a lot of effort being made in terms of DEI, and people really want to try their best to be inclusive and to help Black brands grow, with that said, of course, there's always going to be, I don't know if there's always going to be, but there still is right now a great deal of that, what I call the disbelief. You know, you face that look, that those questions that are kind of like statement questions where there is a lack of confidence in what I can do or in what my brand can do because I'm a Black female. And this is not my first rodeo in the entrepreneurial world, so I'm used to it. I have been in other industries, and I still work in industries where people are, because that's unfortunately the world we live in. People are always ready to doubt the Black employee, and then a Black woman, there's double doubt. So I was raised that we had to work twice as hard. You know, people push back on that theory, and I get the pushback, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a fact. It's always been my experience. So I am up for the challenge, but I certainly have faced of naysay from people. And even after you sort of prove them wrong, and with every achievement, there's still that, you know, that face that I made before,
Right.
that doubt, that disbelief, that really, are you sure? Are you? And it's like, okay, you know what? When I don't know when if you live to sort of to meet goals so that you can prove to those people, you're just going to be a hamster on a treadmill. I'm just trying to prove myself right. Anybody who doesn't believe, they can see or not. It's up to them.
So have you done any collaborations, either, you know, beforehand, or are there any in the making?
We launched Frisky in March of last year, soft launch. So the brand is still very much a newbie, a baby, if you will. And we're excited to do a lot of collaboration. You know, I recently participated in Taste of Harlem, which was an amazing success. 700 people packed into the forum at Columbia University, uptown in Harlem. And it was a great sort of just display of the Black Harlem food and beverage experience. And they only invited a very small number. I think there were 5 spirit brands between wine, whiskey, beer. Frisky was thankfully one of the invited brands. And I met so many creators in that food space. And we have a lot of things that we're working on that we're going to be collaborating on with other brands. Because I think it is very important. You know, we as a culture, in spirits, of course, outside of spirits, but specifically in the spirits and in the food space, there is a lot of there's a lot of creativity happening, but
Mhm.
a lot of it is sort of closed off. It's like, if you know, you know, or those who know, but it's not really on a grand scale. And if you look at what a lot of people who are not Black, who just sort of, I don't want to poo-poo the accomplishments of people, but I think that for us, even if we achieve great things, it's kind of like, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's there, did it make a sound? Of course it made a
Right.
sound. That's ridiculous. But did anyone hear the sound, is what I always say. If nobody heard the sound, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means
Yeah.
it didn't have an impact. So the way we can affect change and bring that impact to the forefront, because we are making impactful moves as Black people in food and beverage, but the way to truly grow that impact and make that louder noise is through collaboration. And if we team up and do things together, we can really sort of let the world know what we're doing outside of what they're already seeing. Because, you know, you turn on a Food Network and you see the same 2 or 3 Black faces doing everything that they do, and it's like, okay, that's it. Or, you know, there's 1 or 2 shows spotlighting what we've done, or, you know,
Yeah.
it's very, it's a cesspool. It's very sort of like incestuous. There's a lot of side to side, the same people doing the same thing, handing off the baton to each other. But then there's literally an entire culture of us doing a lot. And the more we do, the more we connect, collaborate, and hype each other up, I think the better off we're going to be. So I'm very much excited about collaborating with other brands and helping people who, you know, who have dreams of doing similar things to what I'm doing, you know, helping open doors. If we bring each other along, we get there faster.
Yeah. Agree. Completely agree on that one. And then let me ask you, so what are the future plans for Frisky Whiskey?
So that is a great question. Future plans for Frisky Whiskey, total world domination. What I'm looking for realistically, and, you know, I would say my biggest goal is to have Frisky be a national brand. I would like to be able to walk into any liquor store and see my bottles on the shelf. I would like to, it's not to say every restaurant's going to have it, but I would like every restaurant to have Frisky Whiskey. I want to see my drinks on menus everywhere. Bartenders love Frisky. Once they play around with it, they have such a good time with it because, as I was alluding to earlier, with the flavor and with us kind of staying traditional to whiskey's sort of identity with our flavor and just sort of enhancing it and putting it to the forefront, Frisky plays with everything. So bartenders love it. I want to walk into bars, open up their cocktail menu, and see at least 3 to 5 Frisky cocktails on the menu. My future goals are to grow the brand to the point where it is a household name and people know about it and people are excited about it, and we're converting people onto the whiskey side every day.
Got it. Oh, and I'm glad you said that because that is one note to mention. Anybody who's watching, I went on the Frisky Whiskey website, and you all have some wonderful cocktail recipes
Thank you.
On the website. So definitely go ahead, everybody, get a bottle of Frisky Whiskey, and then get the ingredients to make those cocktails too.
And then take pictures and tag us at Drink Frisky.
Yes, do all of that. Okay. Well, Nicole, is there anything else that you would want the viewers to know about Frisky Whiskey?
I would love for viewers to know that even if you think you are not a whiskey drinker, you can drink Frisky Whiskey. Any myths, any folklore, anything you've heard about whiskey that might seem intimidating, you can toss all of that out the window. When you try the product, you will see it is extremely user friendly. If you're whiskey curious, ask anyone who's tried it. You are going to love it.
Got it. So thank you for that. But now it's time to have a little bit of fun, Nicole.
We haven't been having fun this whole time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. But I want to jump into my next segment that I like to call Kitchen Table Talk.
Yay.
Yeah, and so basically this is a segment where I'm going to ask you like a series of questions, and I just want you to respond as if we're just two friends chatting it up at the kitchen table.
Well, that's easy because we are two friends now.
I love it. So the first one is, of course, and these are all going to be drink related because why not?
Why not? Fair.
So we're going to set the mood. Let's just say it's a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a Friday night with your husband. Let's see. I want you to tell me this. One, what are you drinking? What song or artist is playing in the background? And what food will be had to accompany the drinks?
Okay, well, we're definitely drinking Frisky. We are probably both having it on the rocks because that's our favorite way to enjoy it. Both of us really enjoy it on the rocks. If I was feeling adventurous, I might be whipping up a Frisky sour. We have an orange caramel sour, which we call the Frisky sour, which is a very just sort of like easy to make, tasty, plays well with any kind of meal, cocktail recipe. We are probably listening to a playlist consisting of everything from a little George Clinton, a little Usher, a little, who am I leaving out? Okay, so it's gonna be a mix of stuff. I'm an old school R&B girl. I'm a New Jack Swing girl. Personally, I need a little, I want to have some Teddy Riley, some guy maybe. But then my husband wants the George Clinton. He's gonna possibly want a little James Brown. We both agree on George Benson.
Yes, George Benson.
Right? George Benson. So Give the Night. I'm not a singer. My son can sing it, but I'm not a singer. So that's going to be the playlist. The food. So I mentioned before, I develop recipes. That's part of my professional hat. My husband is a chef. That is his professional. So we do not play when it's time to eat. But I'm also the mom of an almost 6-year-old. So we try to keep it easy. We love to cook and throw down, but sometimes it's just like, you know what? So realistically, we're probably just having something simple like some grilled fish, maybe some grilled shrimp. I love a nice I love kale, but I like I need like a spicy salad dressing on that, something homemade. We're probably having, like roasted potatoes with that, or you know what I'm into? You know what we're having? No, scratch all of that.
Scratch that.
We are scratch it. We're having a paella. My family's from Panama,
Ooh,
so
okay,
paella is a big
Spain.
thing
Come
for
on, a
us.
taste of
Yes,
Spain.
okay. We're having, attention, Panamanians, we put our own spin on it. We're probably having a big paella that is, we kind of make like a paella inspired rice. So it's not like, cooking all day in the oven and all of that. But it's a paella inspired rice dish, big salad, really spicy dressing. There's going to be seafood in that paella, and we're having the frisky on the rocks.
Nice. Oh, okay, that's a good move right there. I'm here for that.
Thank you.
Okay,
We'll save you
next
some.
question. Oh, thank you. I will gladly take a plate. Look, wrap it up in aluminum foil and send my little
Anytime.
cocktail. We here.
Anytime.
So the next question. Let's say you're going out on a night on the town. If you could have a drinking buddy, who would you choose? It could be anybody.
So if I'm going out drinking, realistically, I'm probably taking either my business partner or my national sales director, because we want to see what everybody else is doing, what they're drinking, what's selling at the bar, what nobody ordered. We're really probably on a scope out mission. So that's realistically who I'm probably going out drinking with these days.
Okay, got it. And who better to join you than the business partner?
Exactly.
Okay, and then also, what's the most memorable drink that you've had and where were you?
Ooh. Let's see, the most memorable drink I've had. Well, of course, the first sip of Frisky Whiskey was the most memorable drink.
Look, ding, ding, ding.
Aside from the first time I tried our final formula of Frisky, because that was the most memorable drink I've had. But my second most memorable drink, there used to be a Peruvian restaurant in my neighborhood. It's no longer there, sadly, called Lima's Taste. And they made the most insane sangria. My best friend and I used to go there. We used to call it liquid crack. Excuse the name, because it was literally the most delicious. And one day we asked the guy, "What is the secret? What is putting in here that's so good?" And he looked at the bartender. They both chuckled. The bartender held up a bottle, and it was Fanta. They put Fanta in the sangria. It was, listen, liquid crack. That is one of the most memorable cocktails I've ever
Wait,
had. It was in
excuse
the
me,
sangria.
Fanta as in don't you wanna Fanta?
Don't you wanna?
That? The soda?
That soda. The orange soda was the secret ingredient, and it was, do you mind? You have to go. Come on. I'm almost done, but you gotta go, sweetie. Come on. Well, then move over so you're not in the shot. Move all the way over. You can stay here and look, but you can't sit over here. You're too close. I still see your turquoise t-shirt. Stay there. Sorry, Marcus.
No, you're fine.
Childcare drama 101.
Okay, and then the other one, okay, so you mentioned your love for George Benson. So I gotta know, like, and it doesn't have to be a George Benson song, but you go out that night, what's your karaoke song?
My karaoke song, ooh, that's a good one. I have a few. Okay, so my first karaoke song is probably, and I don't hit any of the notes, but I just love Michael Jackson's "Beat It." "Beat
Got it.
It" is one of my all-time favorites. Okay, wait a minute. "Beat It" is one of my favorites, but there's another Michael Jackson one that is I think this was the B-side of Thriller, and the song is called "Baby Be Mine." Do you know "Baby Be Mine" by Michael Jackson?
I'll be honest, I don't.
Okay, look that one up. That's one of
Okay.
that's a sleeper hit, B-side of Thriller, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I love that song. Another one of Rick Astley, "Never Gonna Give You Up" is one of my karaoke songs,
Mhm.
because that low pitch, I can
hit those notes.
Do you care to hit a note?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I will not be hitting a note, because you and your viewers deserve better. Okay.
I will take that.
I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and let's just say the hitting of the notes is not on the strength list. Not there.
I
It's not there.
respect that. Okay, and then just the last final question. So We all have that point where we, maybe had one too many drinks and we have that what had happened was story. So, Nicole, I need your what had happened was story. And I'll at least tell you, at least you don't have to name names unless you want to.
I'm
But what's your
definitely not
story?
going to name names. Okay, my what happened story. It's been so long. Let's see if I can think of one that's respectable enough to share over the airwaves, over the interwebs. Oh, you know what? I can't even tell that one. Let's see. What's a good one? I just can't have you guys thinking of me in this light. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the first Black female to own a flavored whiskey company. Can't be putting myself on blast like this, Marcus.
Respect, because we are all about reputation management. If you prefer to pass, we can pass.
Pass.
Okay.
To leave you guys thinking highly of me and keep it on that note.
Not a problem. Okay.
And also
Well,
because there have been some of those stories and my brain just, the memory just isn't what it once was. No, I'm kidding. Truthfully, I want you to think of me in a positive light. So we're going to leave it
okay. And we will do just that. Okay. So, Nicole, thank you for having this chat with me at the kitchen table. It's been fun.
Thank you for wanting to chat with me.
Yes. Okay. And then the last segment is, of course, I just always like to leave the viewers with some key takeaways. And so I just want you to share anything that you can leave with the viewers. Again, it could be just something that you've experienced in your entrepreneurial journey or just in life in general. So, what would be your food for thought?
My food for thought is whatever you do in life as entrepreneurial, build yourself a legion of strangers. And what I mean by that is a lot of times people immediately circle backwards. They look around them and they're looking to their friends and their family and the people that have known them for a long time to be those supporters and those cheerleaders. And the fact is, unfortunately, it is too much to ask for many reasons. Firstly, a lot of times the people who know you, the closest people to you who know you, the most, the best, and the deepest, they have an image, if you will, of you in their minds. And whether that's good, bad, whatever it is, they see you as that. And it's very hard for people to move outside of that visual in their own minds. Where they see you, what they think of you as, is pretty much kind of what it is. The people who, I can speak from my own experience, the people that I've been friends with for years who, because I've worn many different professional hats and I've had different businesses and I've done, a fair amount of things in my life, in my career. And the ones who have been, I don't like to use the phrase ride or die because what does that mean? Who's dying? It's your mom, your dad, maybe. The people who have really been by my side, who have supported every single thing, are few and far between. And I keep those people really close, but I don't have that expectation of everyone because that's just not the reality. People who know you see you as what they see you as, and that's kind of as far as they're gonna as their mind's eye can go. So they're not going to be your best customers. They're not going to be the loudest cheerleaders. They're not going to be the ones spreading the word of mouth. They're just not, for different reasons. So don't even waste your time with that. Build a legion of strangers. You'd be surprised how people who you've never met will cheer louder for you than the
Yeah.
people who've known you since, diapers or what have you. So not diapers, but you know what I mean. And I would also say that to keep in mind, we grow up hearing, or at least I did, there was an adage people always say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's actually not true. It's not who you know, it's how they see you. So, hearkening
Mm,
back to my other point, you might know the most powerful people, you might know the most connected people. Those people are probably not going to be the ones. Because if they were going to be the ones, then they would have already done whatever it is you think they can
yeah.
do for you. Those are not going to be your work tribe. They might be your personal life tribe or whatever, but expand out. Talk to strangers, meet people, tell people what you're doing, and look to build that legion of newcomers because that's how you're going to grow whatever it is that you're trying to grow. And with that, don't be angry because that's a waste of energy. Don't be angry at the people who you expected to be the cheerleaders, and they're not, because I already told you they're not going to be. Remember that I told you that. Don't waste your time being angry. Just keep on expanding out, and you will make impressions on people who will turn around and help you get to where you're trying to go.
Yes. I'm here for that advice because I
Thank
can
you.
speak to that personally because, again, I can't tell you just the people that I've met since starting, and I haven't even been doing this for, not even 2 years at this particular point. And I've met some amazing people who, again, I had no record of knowing prior to, but they support me, always look out, willing to build connections anytime I need it. So, yes, you are absolutely right about that.
Thank you. I'm glad you agree.
Yes. Okay, so I think we are all done here, Nicole. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. So continue to follow Nicole's journey with Frisky Whiskey. Nicole, let them know all the places where they can follow you.
Yes, please follow Frisky at Drink Frisky. And if you want to follow me personally, I'm at Nicole Young Style.
Got
And
it.
please visit drinkfrisky.com to learn more about the brand, find it near you, or order your bottle online for delivery.
All right. Y'all be sure to go do that. Thanks, Nicole, on that. And then also, just please be sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button for those viewers out there. And if you happen to be listening to the podcast, feel free just to subscribe and follow along to the podcast. And it's available everywhere that podcasts are available to listen to. And then lastly, if you happen to know any other Black entrepreneurs within the food and beverage industry who would love to be featured on Chow & Company, feel free just to send me an email at eat@chowandcompany.com, and we'll make things happen. But all right, again, thanks, Nicole, so much for being here with me today. And until next time, all right, everybody, ciao.